So we now proceed to the next set of speakers. We have the presentation of gender-responsive and climate-smart approach to strengthen farmer entrepreneurship for enhanced livelihoods and resilience, to be done by Ms. Arma Bertuso, Senior Research Associate of the International Facility Center. Arma, you have the floor.
Thank you, Ma'am Tess. And also thank you for the opportunity to for us to present our work on Farmer Business School in this very important event, the 16th Asia Pacific Sociological Association Conference. Okay, so I will be sharing our work on Farmer Business School. I think there's some mistake in the introduction earlier. The Farmer Business School gender responsive and climate smart approach to strengthen farmer entrepreneurship for enhanced livelihood and resilience. But before I do that, let me just share a bit background on this project. The Farmer Business School is a project of the International Potato Center. It was developed in 2008. First, it was piloted in Indonesia under an Asia-funded project until 2010. And then later, the Farmer Business School approach was adopted in the Philippines, particularly by IFAD investment projects. And then in the Philippines, and then it was also adopted by IFAD development projects in India, Indonesia, and Vietnam under the International Potato Center project on food security, food start project, the phase 1 and phase 2. So this project, project ended in 2019. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, why do we need to promote farmers' entrepreneurship through Farmer Business School? In 2007, the International Potato Center conducted an informal survey in Indonesia, particularly on the potato sector, where it was found out that small farmer holders have limited understanding of market opportunities and have inadequate access to market information. And there are also a lot of supply and market linkages issues. Okay, so the usual here is that the potatoes are just marketed in traditional markets and farmers do not know how to price it. They just rely on traders dictating the prices. So addressing this concern, and these results are not unique in Indonesia. No, it's also can be found in any countries. And we see that small farmers have very limited access. Particularly, they have limited business skills. They also have ineffective farmer organizations, and they have inadequate access to accurate market information. As I mentioned, they just rely on traders dictating the prices, so they don't know much about market information. And also they have very limited understanding of the available market opportunities for them. So with these issues, the challenge is how can we enable smallholder men and women farmers to participate in agricultural value chains by building their capacity so that they can respond whether individually or jointly in the emerging market opportunities. So this is the premise, this is the context where the Farmer Business School approach was developed. Next slide, please. Okay. Let me just give you a brief background on what the Farmer Business School is about. So the Farmer Business School, it's participatory action learning approach to support the farmers group participation in and benefit from agricultural value chain. The Farmer Business School actually, it builds on two approaches. One is the participatory market chain approach, which CIP developed. And if you are familiar with the Farmer Field School which FAO started. And here in the Farmer Field School, this is where the group of farmers learn to use integrated pest management in the field. So from these two approaches, it's a marriage of these two approaches that's where the Farmer Business School started. So the Farmer Business School is a series of group-based experiential activities over a production marketing cycle. If Farmer Field School is just for production, in Farmer Business School, we incorporated from production to the marketing. And then in FBS, facilitates farmer interaction also with chain actors and stakeholders. so that the other stakeholders in the value chain would also be participating. The goal of the Farmer Business School is for men and women farmers to participate so that they will be enabled to develop market-driven product innovations, establish and expand market linkages, and of course, generate additional profits through increased volume and value of their products. As a tangible output of the FBS, the participants are expected to have an actual micro and small enterprise or business initiated or strengthened upon completing the Farmer Business School learning process, which means their graduation is actually the launching of their business. Okay, so the actual conduct of the Farmer Business School will not end without an actual business established by the group. This approach is a partnership of the international, as I mentioned, International Potato Center, but this was really expanded or mainstream through the IFAD investment projects in the Philippines, Indonesia, India, and in Vietnam. And this is through the Food Start project. Next slide, please. Okay, this one, I'll just share with you the curriculum where we implement. By the way, the Farmer Business School, it's usually run from 6 to 8 months, depending on the business innovation that they will be doing. So the FBS curriculum has around 8 to 9 modules. So we start with planning and targeting. We also have a module on group formation and strengthening. And the module 3 is talking about the introducing marketing and business concepts. So they will be leveling up on these different concepts. And then the module 4 is identifying and prioritizing market opportunities, where the participants actually do the market assessment. So they do a mini value chain analysis, so using simple tools. And then from there, from the result of this assessment, they decide what innovations that they will be doing, business innovations. So these are trialed and tested, developed in module 5. And then from the module 5, when they already have the prototypes and everything, they do business planning. And as I mentioned earlier, this is also in coordination with some of the stakeholders of the value chain. So we also have a module on accessing business support services so that they know where to access the support needed for the development of their businesses. And then finally, the launching, the business launching, which we call the ABS final event. And after the culmination of the FBS, we also have a module on post-ABS support, so that this will address to help the continuity of the different businesses. Okay, and then next, can you please click? When we started the FBS in Indonesia, we did not incorporate the gender and climate perspective. But in the Philippines, working with our partners here, we decided to integrate the gender and climate change perspective. So we had to change the modules so that we will ensure that there is incorporation in terms of gender, in the assessment, in developing the tools, and in addressing and the participation. And also on the climate change, ensuring that we have climate smart approaches built in the Farmer Business School. Next slide, please. Okay, so what are the outcomes? As I mentioned, the project had already ended in 2019. So from 2011 to 2019, there were we had already around 150 small and micro enterprises of diverse commodities that was developed through the Farmer Business School in the Philippines, India, and Indonesia. And also, if you will see in the picture, these are just example of the products. So it's not only limited to root and tuber crops, it's also it's commodity neutral. Okay, so we also work with BIFAR, so fisheries, fish products are also included here. We have around 3,800 farmers that participated and graduate in FBS. And if you can see, there are 76% of women participants in the FBS. So in all of the countries, there is really high percentage, between 60 to 70 participation of the women. Okay, so that's the qualitative, some of the qualitative outcome of the project. Next slide, please. In terms of the qualitative output, we did a most significant change to collect what are the qualitative perception changes that happen to the beneficiaries, and we have collected around 100 stories in the project site. So these are just some of the things that we had. Improved organization of the farmer groups. Again, the farmer business school works on a group, so it's a group. It's not individual, but it's a group. So one commodity or one business per group. It enhanced the business skills at the individual and group level. There was a promotion of gender equity. There is also emergence of new food security through root and tuber crops and enterprises, particularly the value addition of root and tuber crops. As earlier we were discussing about the mindset, looking at root and tuber crops as a poor man's crop. But in this project, we had really turned value adding products for root and tuber crops. Income opportunities link with the improved production and processing techniques. And of course, there is now better linkage to local markets. So the participants, the men and women now have the confidence to market their products. Okay, just to give a testimony of one of the stories that we collected, one of the women there from our FBS in Bohol said that every day we dream of having a stable job. Thanks to FBS, we became productive women from being plain housewife to businesswoman. So they were saying to us, it's not because we earn thousands of money, but it's even if it's 100, but it's the confidence that we have the money that we can help in our household expenses. That's a contribution of the Farmer Business School. Next slide, please. I'll just so how does the FBS enhance livelihoods and resilience? So as I mentioned, it's promote value addition and microprice and enterprise development. It has contributed to income generation and diversification and the market pool for root and tuber crops cultivation, which indirect impact on food resilience. Next slide, please. And just some poly implications. We look at the first one we had is the collaboration and partnership. I think the FBS is successful because of the activities that are jointly planned and implemented and funded with IFA development projects. So they were able to help us scale up the FBS approach. It's inclusive capacity building. We ensure that men and women participation in the agricultural value chains and ensuring gender sensitivity in technology generation and dissemination. So we conduct needs assessment processes that ensures appropriate innovation both for men and women, and also for suitable resources and environment. And lastly, scaling up and adaptation. So mainstreaming the FBS with development projects and other partners. I think BSU has also adapted the Farmer Business School approach, but they term it community micro enterprise schools so that we can reach a wider scale. Okay, so that's a brief information about the Farmer Business School. So thank you. If you have question, I'll be happy to answer it. Thank you.